All right, good evening. I'm 5 News Chief Meteorologist Matt Standridge. We're watching strong, severe storms coming into western portions of Benton County and western Washington County. A wall of wind with gusts near 60 to 70 miles per hour is moving in from the west right now, and boy, it's putting on a big show. But let's go ahead and take a look at the radar, what we're watching. We're watching several severe thunderstorm warnings along this nasty line that's moving in from the west. But right now, the most immediate threat with the gustiest winds are actually in northwest Arkansas. Let's go ahead and track those. We've got lots of lightning right now from Bentonville, Rogers, Springdale, and into Fayetteville here shortly. But these are where the gustiest winds are at the moment. We can zoom in a little bit closer. We've got gusts near 60 miles per hour that are blowing right over Exonay. Centerton, they're blowing right at us too. But in Bentonville and Rogers, wait just about 5 minutes and the wind will be coming into you guys. And then back towards the south in Washington County, we'll probably have those winds here in the next 7 to 8 minutes for Springdale. Tawnytown within about 5 minutes or so. And then Fayetteville maybe more in like 10 to 12 minutes before we watch this wind really start to hit us as it continues to move in from the west. But we have a huge cloud shield, and when we take the radar off, you can see the lightning really well. Tons of lightning, very loud conditions across western Benton County, northwestern Washington County. In the River Valley, we have a little bit longer to go as we watch these storms kind of at a tilt moving towards the east. Now, earlier this evening, we had several tornado warnings across parts of Oklahoma. That is not the case anymore, but there's still some rotation. The storms have lost a little bit of kind of that bowing feature where they were producing those quick spin ups, and there were some reports of funnel clouds across Oklahoma. No reports as of yet if things were touched in the ground. There's some conflicting reports, but we'll try to get those as they start to come in throughout the evening hours. But right now, the immediate threat is that wind coming into northwest Arkansas. You do see that severe thunderstorm warning. That does include Sequoyah County and Haskell County. But right now, the wind is just towards our west. So once that wind pocket gets a little bit closer, we'll continue to track that. But the immediate threat right now is northwest Arkansas. We do have some hail as well as these winds are blowing in. You get the wind, and then on the backside, after that rush, you get some decently sized hail, up to quarter-sized hail right now, coming in from western Benton County. But you can see that coming right towards Bentonville and Rogers. We also have some small pockets of hail back off towards the west, but these are a lot weaker here at the moment. I'm going to go ahead and move the radar just a second, back off towards the north, and take a closer look at where some of that hail is right now. I'm going to pause it as well. All right, there we go. So the hail right now indicates where the wind is also. The wind is on the right side or the east side when you're trying to take a look at maps. We've got the wind pushing in Exonay. Behind the wind is where we have some of this hail. Now we're talking about quarter-sized hail now coming in towards Exonay. If you live near Heifel, this has just left us in the Gentry area. We've got some quarter-sized hail. Away from that pocket though, some smaller hail. New scan coming in. The pocket of hail with the quarter-sized hail is moving just on the south side of that runway of Exonay. So that's coming in, and that'll coming in towards Cave Springs here within the next 5 to 10 minutes. But right on that leading edge, that's where we have that wind coming into Bentonville, coming into the Promenade, the Pinnacle Hills area, there towards Tawnytown and Springdale, and then Johnson and Fayetteville. We're going to get clipped by some of that wind too. There's another pocket of hail there just west of Centerton. They're just west of Bentonville West High School. But this is moving east. Bentonville, watch out for the hail that's coming in shortly. Of course, we have more of that hail back off towards the south and west in Oklahoma. I'm going to move the radar back to the beginning and take a closer look at some of that wind. With those reds, you're really watching that wall of wind come right at us, and it's specifically moving right down Walton here just within the next moment or so. So the core of the wind, I know it's hard to see, this edge is right here. So you've already just passed, blown right through Centerton. We're still getting the wind in Centerton towards Bentonville West High School. But they're at downtown Bentonville, Crystal Bridges, south towards the Walmart headquarters. Here within the next 5 minutes, we're expecting that wall of wind to come in. This is the same wall of wind that produced some shingle damage, kind of ripped off some of the shingles back in Oklahoma, and it's still pressing into Benton County. With some of these pockets, there will be winds that are strong enough to try to snap some limbs, and also if those limbs hit some power lines, Those could also cause some power outages. There could even be a power flash every once in a while across Bentonville, but that's where the core of wind coming right through Bentonville right now. Southwest I Street, right there over Thaden Field, we're getting that wind, and it's pressing right east. As you're going towards Exonay, you know, you have all those Walmart distributions centers, a lot of those warehouses. That's where we're getting the wind right now, just blowing through the west side of Bentonville. Here's where we got the Promenade and Pinnacle Hills. We're just about 2 to 3 minutes away from getting the wind for us too. A little bit farther south, let's move there towards southern Benton County, just past Exonay. You can see where the runways are. Wind just blew through. The wind's headed towards Hyde Park, and then west towards, you're talking about, you've got the NBC Suites, you're headed north, right there, kind of the downtown portion of Rogers that they call it, but we're watching that wind come right towards I-49. You kind of make that curve towards Pleasant Grove Road. That's where we're watching the wind come in here within the next 5 or 10 minutes. This is going to blast right through, going right into Springdale. You see, bring Springdale towards the south. Arvest Ballpark, we're probably about 5 minutes away from getting the wind for us too. Elm Springs, right there towards Elm Park as well. We're watching the wind come in, and that's going to hit us at the Harbor High School here within the next 5 minutes as well. As you get towards J.B. Hunt headquarters, we're probably about 5 minutes out. Most of us right along the I-49 corridor, just about 5 minutes out. You go a little bit farther north, though. In Bentonville, we're closer to 2, 3, 4 minutes. The thing is right on our doorstep as it's just blasting east, but there could be some power outages as this thing moves towards the east right now. I'm going to go ahead and delete this. Let's move the radar again. There's a better view right there. All right. If you live in Springdale, Fayetteville, we've got a handful of minutes or so as we're watching this wind. So far right now, this is just a wall of wind that's coming in. We're not noticing too much in terms of rotation at this time. It's just blasting us through. But I tell you what, sometimes this is worse when it's just hitting everybody. Everyone from Bella Vista right there towards Centerton. We've had the wind blow through for us, but now it's coming into the heart of Bentonville. Just kind of off screen real quick, looking at some of these wind speeds that are registering with the radar. You can take a closer look and dive in. So the pocket that's coming into Bentonville, getting some readings. Pause this. About 65, 66 miles per hour coming through Bentonville. That's going to move east right there along 71 Business as you're going into more Rogers. That's going to blow right down Walton and then turning into Walnut. I'm going to take a camera look real quick while we're talking about some of these wind speeds, so you guys can see what it looks like. A wall of water has just now hit us in downtown Bentonville. This is just south of the Walmart headquarters. We've got the wind for us. That is blowing through. Rogers, we're next. It's coming down Walnut as we speak. It's coming down Highway 264 right into Lowell. Elm Springs, Tawnytown, we're getting that wind and that rain as well, and it's coming right towards Bethel Heights and Springdale, the heart of Springdale. It's already coming into Harbor High School. Give us about 3 or 4 minutes. It's going to hit Springdale High School here very shortly. And then Fayetteville, we're a little bit farther towards the south, and the thing kind of bends just a little bit and may take us a hot second before it comes into Fayetteville. You can see how it bends a little bit back towards the west, but look how much lightning we have too. Gosh, these storms are nasty as they're coming in. Now, let's go a little bit farther south, give you a quick update on the storm that's coming into Sequoyah County right now. Severe thunderstorm warning for western Sequoyah County. That includes just west of Salisaw, right towards Vian and Webbers Falls. I'll zoom in a little bit more. We'll get some town names popping up. Brent, you're included as well. Stigler, Keota. We're watching this wall of wind come in from the south as well. Now with this storm, this one's a little bit more interesting. We've got 60-mile-per-hour winds, but if I show you the velocity, it's not just a wall of wind. You've got the winds pushing into Stigler, but you also have some slight rotation. Not enough to issue a tornado warning at this time, but there's a little bit more rotation coming into the River Valley, and that's one thing we're going to notice tonight. More rotation in the River Valley as these storms are pressing in from the west, while the storms up north in northwest Arkansas are mainly dealing with just a wall of wind. But I tell you what, once this blows through, things are going to be a lot quieter. We got the wind now right over I-49, just gusting there, right over the Pinnacle Hills, the Cross Church campus. You head south towards the Fellowship Rogers campus. That's where we're getting the wind. It's blowing east, headed right towards 71 as you go towards downtown Rogers, and then also towards Lake Atalanta. We're about to pick up that gusty wind, and then it's going to move east towards Prairie Creek and Beaver Lake as well. Down south into Rogers, we're watching south side of Rogers specifically, right there towards the experimental Walmart. We're watching the wind just blast through us there and towards this Elms Park, Elm Springs area, and Lowell and Bethel Heights. Here's a closer look at some of that wind as it comes towards the J.B. Hunt headquarters and then Hunt Elementary School. They're on the north side of Springdale. Strong winds gusting through. Now these winds that are coming into Springdale specifically, let's get a quick estimate. Estimating right around 55 to 58. So we're right there on the severe limit. It looks like the strongest winds though are just north of us. You can, let me switch this a little bit. There we go. You see how it's a little bit brighter as you go farther north. Now the radar beam's going a little bit higher up in the atmosphere too, so you got to account for that. But we've got probably our strongest pocket of wind right now heading in from Bentonville towards Little Flock and Pea Ridge, Avoca. We're next on some of this wind that's coming in, but Rogers and Prairie Creek, you head south into Lowell. That's where we're also getting some of this wind as well. But everyone in Northwest Arkansas getting this wind. It's just kind of huddling right next to I-49. Now, if you live in the eastern portions of Washington County or eastern Benton County, just wait here for another 5-10 minutes and the wind will probably be gusting through your neighborhood as well. As we go to Washington County, the winds are a little bit weaker, but we still have that severe thunderstorm warning. That includes downtown Fayetteville. It includes right from the university, the U of A, cut it off there and go north. So Greenland, you're not included in this. This is, if you go south of MLK, you're not included in this, but north of MLK, past Weddington, past the Stephen Carr exit, north into the Fulbright Expressway, and then Johnson, we're included in that severe thunderstorm warning with these gusts that could be near 60 miles per hour at times, but it bends back towards the west. Right now, that core of wind is closer to Lake Weddington, but it is moving east. We've had some wind across Prairie Grove and Lincoln too, although it's a little bit weaker along Highway 62. We haven't got as much of the rain. The rain's trying to pick up across 62 from Lincoln, Prairie Grove, and into Farmington. The heavy rain is just towards our north, more towards Lincoln Lake, and then north into portions of Lake Weddington as well. All right, I'm gonna show you that camera once again. This is a live look in Pensacola. But this is that look in Bentonville. It looks like some of the rain is actually starting to come to an end. That's how quickly this thing is moving through. This thing isn't very wide, but Bentonville, we're starting to wrap up, but we still have a lot of frequent lightning now on the other side of the camera, so you're gonna still see those flashes. But boy, we just had that wall of water and that wall of wind. Good news is you're looking towards a lot of the businesses there, right around Walmart headquarters. We still have a lot of the lights on, so that's some good news. Could there be power outages? There could be. We'll watch those, but it looks like the rain's already starting to lighten up. Now, we're not completely done with the rain. There's some rain off towards the south, so we may still get some rain, but the heaviest is now really just kind of skipped over. It's coming into Rogers and Lowell and Springdale as well. I'll pull up a couple things here on the side. We'll do a quick wide view, and then let's jump back into some of these individual storms. So what we're watching is this cold front that's closer to I-44, and it's separating from the 70s to the 30s. We're watching a huge drop in temperatures take place overnight tonight. By the time you're waking up tomorrow morning, it's gonna be a lot colder where you live. Right now, we're in that transition zone. No longer do we have as many of the 70s. We're dropping down to the 60s, and we got some 50s on the way too. But we're under that severe thunderstorm watch that does include into Northwest Arkansas, all of Northwest Arkansas. It got expanded to Benton County and Carroll County, and extends south into Washington County as well. Let's see. Just looking from the National Weather Service, gusty winds were reported at X and A. I don't have the exact number, but we do have that report. But really, goodness, that lightning is impressive, and that thunder has been so loud across Northwest Arkansas, and it's moving east. We do have more severe thunderstorm warnings back off towards the west. You may be thinking, okay, I live in the River Valley. When's my storms? We've been telling you that the storms are probably stronger in the River Valley, and that's where we have the better fuel. So we've got to still watch these storms here for a while. Although this storm that just kind of really blew up across Benton County just kind of got in a little circular motion, and then it just gusted out and just plowed across Gentry and Gravette and into Bentonville and Rogers, where we have it right now. Most of the lightning is right over the Promenade and the J.B. Hunt headquarters, that Workman's Travel Center there off of 264. That's where we got a lot of that thunder and lightning. Pleasant Grove Road up and down, we've got the lightning as well there towards the Fellowship campus. We've got the heavy rain over the Cross Church campus. And then you head right on down 71 and Montenay Road as you get more towards the east side of Rogers. Lake Atalanta, that's where we've got some of the heavy rain now pushing in and the wind for us too. But that severe thunderstorm watch goes until 3 a.m. So we've got a while to go. We got 2 clusters. I mean, there's one full line, but for the severe threats, the ones that we're really watching, we've got storms off towards the south and we've got storms in the north. National Weather Service reissuing that severe thunderstorm warning. You can see now how it's been trimmed a little bit more. We're no longer under that warning in western Benton County. It cuts off on the east side of the runways at X and A, that it does include as you head east towards Cave Springs. We're definitely included on that. I'm going to reset this map. As we move east, I got to move a couple things. But that wall of wind is just plowing through Rogers right now, plowing through past the Rogers Municipal Airport, the Walmart FBO, and then you head up 62 past Avoca. You're going past the gravel pit there towards the east, and then you head right into the Pea Ridge National Military Park, and Pea Ridge itself, we've got blasted with that wind, and now it's moving east towards the dam eventually over time. Gateway, Arkansas, Garfield, we're next for some of this wall of wind that's coming in, and a lot of frequent lightning as well. Let's see, let's go a little bit farther south. Still cutting off that severe thunderstorm warning over Razorback Stadium, right over the U of A. Once you head south, once you get towards Drake Field, you get towards Greenland, we're not under that severe thunderstorm warning. We're kind of more at a slant, so the storm itself is not plowing us through as efficiently. It's kind of cutting at an angle with the landscape, and so that doesn't produce as much of the wind as a head-on approach, and we're getting that head-on approach the little bit farther north you go. So we're going to get some wind right around Fayetteville. Springdale, the wind's coming in through us as well. Arvest Ballpark, we just got plowed through. Elm Springs, we just had that wind. The Experimental Walmart, we just got blown through as well. Now we're headed east. We're kind of headed towards Sonora, Haberton, and Goshen. Creech, we're going to be included on that as well. Looking in from the National Weather Service. Looks like a little bit farther south, we may have a new warning. Let's zoom out a little bit. All right, couple new updates. Severe thunderstorm blowing with that wind across northwest, but now it's kind of leaving the I-49 corridor in Benton County. We still have it over I-49 from Johnson and into Fayetteville. Very loud conditions with that thunder and lightning. But we've got a new severe thunderstorm warning that kind of originates over Lake Tenkiller, moving east, right from Choctaw County and into Adair County. We'll take a closer look at this cell as it's coming in as well. This one has up to 60-mile-per-hour winds too with it. You can see it there over Tenkiller, Petite, and Rocky Mountain, where you have the difference between the reds and the greens. This is not necessarily circulation, but it's just some good wind that's blowing on through. So that severe thunderstorm warning goes all the way to Stillwell and Peavine, and Westville, we're included in that as well. That goes until 11:45 with this storm that's moving east. So what you're going to notice over time is that as these storms blow in from the west, multiple warnings as it comes in. Most of the line is going to be warned at some point. However, over time, this line is starting to weaken. And we've been calling for that throughout the day because we have lower humidity and we have a little bit lower energy our side of the state line. That doesn't mean the storms just completely collapse before they cross the line. But remember earlier, we had multiple tornado warnings, we had severe thunderstorm warnings. Now we just mainly have severe thunderstorm warnings, mainly due some wind. And that wind can still cause some damage out there. But we are noticing that line getting a little bit thinner as it moves off towards the east. And a couple other things too. I'm going to take a look at, I'm going to bounce around. This is taking a look at just the cloud tops and the lightning. You can see the cloud tops pushing over the river valley already. That's going to help reduce some of the storms back off towards the west. But then look at the lightning. The lightning is a good indicator about how strong these thunderstorms are. We're still blasting through northwest Arkansas right now. Bentonville, we're starting to quiet down, although that frequent lightning is out there back off towards the west. Fayetteville, Springdale, we're next. But you look off towards the south, those lightning pockets in southeast Oklahoma have reduced a little bit. We have noticed a little bit of weakening. We like that. That's some good news. All right, I'm going to take you northbound again. Let's take a look at some cameras out there. Live look in Bacola. You do see that lightning there off in the distance. Let's take a look. The storm's a little bit farther out, so it's going to be a bit harder to see at times. This is a live look outside in Bentonville. Very frequent lightning. I may be able to turn the camera. There we go. All right, so now you're looking. There you go. Look at that. Gusty winds. Lots of rain. Look how we're soaked now. But the storm has now pushed out of Bentonville. This is mainly Rogers and Pea Ridge and Avoca and Garfield. Really impressive sight there as you're looking back off towards the west now. This is a live look outside. I'm going to have to switch a couple things. Give me just a moment. This is a live look in Springdale now. Let's see. All right. So you're looking live in Springdale, you're looking up and down I-49, torrential rain coming down for us in the heart of Springdale. They're right at the exit of Sunset right now. And gusty winds continue to push to the east. Let's see. Have to keep typing in some passwords, hard to talk at the same time, as we kind of open up some of these cameras. I'm going to move the camera. Now you're looking off towards the south. As that storm is approaching Fayetteville now. It's at an angle, so we're not getting all hit at the same time. Springdale, we're getting hit right now. Boy, that's some frequent lightning too. Check that out. Low clouds too now, thanks to the humidity and the rain that's coming down. But there's your severe thunderstorm headed right towards Springdale and Fayetteville with some very gusty winds, up to 60 miles per hour. It's a little bit closer to the 60 mile per hour range. In Washington County, we were a little bit closer to the 70 mile per hour range at times. In Benton County, it was a little bit stronger, but we're still watching that towards the south right now. All right, let's go ahead. There's that live look in Bentonville again. Just impressive to look at. The storms are just plowing on through. Guys, it was so loud out there, and you're probably still hearing the thunder and the heavy rain coming down and seeing those flashes, lightnings in Roger and in Fayetteville. Tawnytown, we're getting that heavy rain too. But here's a wide view again of those severe thunderstorm warnings, just that nasty line that's trying to blow in from the west. But Bentonville, we're starting to clear out from the heavier rain. We still have some moderate rain coming in, so we're not done yet as this whole storm starts to move from the southwest towards the northeast. A couple things too. Notice how this whole band of rain is moving southwest to kind of northeast. You know, it's not due east. The storms start, and then they kind of have that trajectory due northeast. But at the same time, the line is also northeast. So what happens is over time, that can't be sustainable. The storms will slowly start to dissipate. But at least for the next hour, they're still rumbling and they're still rolling right across Lake Tenkiller, headed into Adair County right now. But the biggest gust of wind is still right over southern Benton County. Let's zoom in a little bit closer for us in Benton County. Let's see. Move that. There we go. All right, so now the wind is starting to reduce itself a little bit over Rogers itself with that gust that's headed towards some of the southern fringes of Beaver Lake, there towards Montanay and Horseshoe Bend. You guys along the lake know exactly what I'm talking about. War Eagle and getting eventually close to where Camp War Eagle is located too, but mainly Horseshoe Bend Marina and the campground. We're getting some of that wind. It's also coming in towards Hickory Creek and the marina and the park as well. There towards Gene Nichols, you guys know the fruit farms, that's right off 264 as you're kind of headed towards the lake, and then you got that quarry there on the left-hand side, you're headed eastbound. That's where we're watching some of this wind just right blow through. A little bit farther south, the wind is coming through Springdale and eventually headed towards Sonora here next. So what we're going to do, we're going to keep live on our platforms. We're going to hop off Channel 5 here in just a moment because the primary wind threat is now starting to blow out into some more rural areas and parts of eastern Benton County and Washington County. We do not have a tornado warning right now, but if we do get a tornado warning, if we get that gust of wind and there's a rotation on the outside, we will cut in, we'll let you know. But for now, we're going to continue live streaming. We're still with you guys, but we're going to continue on 5newsonline.com. If you have the 5 Plus app, you can watch it there. And then the 5 News app on your mobile device, you can watch it there. And then on YouTube and Facebook, you can also watch us. So we're on several different locations. But we're going to hop off Channel 5 here in just a moment as we continue to watch these storms come in from the west. We'll do a quick reset, and then we'll continue to watch a very stormy night ahead. This is taking a look at just velocity. We've got a little bit more rotation as you look off towards the south and west. They're getting close to the Kerr Reservoir Dam, so that's something that we're going to watch as it comes into Sequoyah County here shortly and northern LaFleur County. We still have some storms back off towards the west too, so we still have a very busy night. But in northwest Arkansas, that severe threat is starting to wane in Benton County, at least for Bentonville and Rogers. You get east of town towards Prairie Creek and Pea Ridge and Avoca and Garfield and Gateway and Sonora and Goshen and Hickory Creek. They're getting closer to Beaver Lake. Watch out, the wind is coming right at us. We'll continue to live stream on our online platforms here in just a moment. Make sure you keep it local, keep it here, and as always, we'll keep you advised. All right, and we're still on PCR, Trevor? All right, appreciate it. All right, thank you, control room. All right, now we're back. We're still on our digital platforms. We're gonna watch these storms together as they're coming in from the west. So let's take a look. I'm gonna reset a couple things because storms have moved a little bit. We set camera placements in different spots. All right, so here's the full line. This is what it's done over the past hour. I'm gonna slow this down to just the past 15 minutes. And I'm going to make the radar move slower as well. All right, there we go. All right, so we're watching this line come in from the west. The biggest threat has been some of those gusty winds, but we've also had some hail as it's come on through. I want to show you what the hail looks like right now as it's blowing on through. We've had some pockets there near quarter-sized hail, especially in Benton County. This is looking at current hail and what has happened. So we've had some pockets. It looks like we had a pocket of hail in Centerton. We had a pocket of hail there right around X&A, Cave Springs as well, and maybe another pocket right over the promenade and getting close to Pinnacle Hills. We also had some hail too. I'm going to take off the hail now for a second, see where we got the hail. It also looks like it crossed right there over Pinnacle Hills. There towards the Cross Church campus and then New Hope Road, we had some of the hail too. Let's go to just current hail as it's blowing on through. A little bit weaker now, but we have some penny-sized and dime-sized hail that's coming right into Prairie Creek right now. They're on the western side of Beaver Lake, Hickory Creek, and then Horseshoe Bend. We're getting some of that hail. We've got some hail that's coming in towards Taneytown and Harbor High School. We're getting some of that hail too. Johnson, Arkansas, as you go just south of Don Tyson, we're getting heavy rain right now. There's also probably some small hail at times, but it looks like that hail threat has diminished a little bit. Let's take a look at some hail farther south. Just got a report of some nickel-sized hail in Taneytown. The storms off towards the south do not have as much hail here at the moment. You're looking at kind of these pockets. It's mainly looking like some wind and some lightning here at the moment. So that's some good news. Most of the hail is still off towards the north. There's that line. Notice how these storms off towards the south too are weakening a little bit. One thing with the delayed timing is that we start to cool off the atmosphere a little bit. So we'll watch. We're still watching a nasty line come in. But there are some indications that this thing was slowly trying to weaken as it moves east. You just look at the lightning too. That thing has gone down quite a bit. Still watching that gusty wind threat push through northwest Arkansas. Gusty winds coming in northern Washington County too. Big old line of storms. All right, so this shows you where the warnings are. Takes the radar off for a second, and then you see the lightning cores too. We've got a lightning core coming in right towards Adair County. It's loud. Still got the heaviest, most frequent lightning right now in Benton County. Boy, it is loud across Rogers and Garfield and Pea Ridge and Avoca. Folks aren't sleeping through this one. This one is loud as it presses right into Beaver Lake. Carroll County, we're next. We're also included in that severe thunderstorm warning. That includes Eureka Springs, Berryville, we're just towards the east. And then as you head south into Madison County, Huntsville, we're included. So you take Springdale and you hop on Highway 412. We're all being included on this storm as it's moving in. Here's a current look at some of the hail that we've had. It looks like the hail has still dropped off a little bit, but you can see closely we've got some hail right over Prairie Creek, some hail over Garfield and Gateway, Brightwater too, just past the quarry there. Pea Ridge Military Park, we're getting some of that hail. And then boy, there's some heavy rain coming in to Springdale. We've got some of that That hail about penny-sized, pea-sized hail right through Taneytown. Springdale, we're next as it comes towards Springdale High School. Harbor High School, we've got some of that hail right now, it looks like. And then you move north and east. Let's see. Right there, now coming in, you can see where Don Tyson is too. Let me move this a little bit closer. Don Tyson Parkway, Arbest Ballpark, we've got some of the hail coming in. Highway 412 there at the Sunset, we've got the hail. We've got some, looks like some small hail at the Experimental Walmart, north towards the exit at Wagon Wheel, and then some of the western portions of Beaver Lake. There towards Montenay, Clear Point, that southern kind of that's snaking down as you get towards Washington County with Beaver Lake. We have some small hail too. Looks like have a little bit of an uptick there on the northwest side, so just a little bit north of Prairie Creek. You're on the other side of the lake now. You're getting close to the runway. I'm trying to think what it's called. Up there, north, Sailboat Cove. Let's go with Sailboat Cove as you go some of these northern ridges. We've got some hail coming in towards us. So watch for that. That hail pocket is moving east. It looks like for Rogers, downtown Rogers, and all the way back west to Bentonville, the hail threat has gone down. We still have some rain that's going to be on and off, and still some, you can probably hear the thunder still, but the hail pocket itself is headed right towards Beaver Lake. You can see Pine Log Road, Glade, we're going to get some of that hail too, but it's all moving eastbound right now. We got some of that hail kind of brushed through Pea Ridge. Garfield, we're getting some of that hail up and down Highway 62, this hail too. But where you see that bright blue is where we've got some quarter-sized hail now coming on the north, the other side of Beaver Lake. When you're looking from the Prairie Creek Marina, that northern shore, that's where we're getting some of that hail right now, and it's going to continue to move east by about 35 miles per hour. So if you live anywhere on the north side of Beaver Lake, try to get a couple road names for you guys. I mean, we're rural now. Looks like Posse Mountain Road, Walnut Hill Road. Let's see, Ventress Road. We've got hail coming in towards you guys. Cedar Rock Road. There at the near the bridge near Glade, we've got some hail coming in here within the next 5 minutes or so. Here's a wide view. Take a closer look at a new hail pocket kind of strengthening right over Lake Elmdale, Lake Road, Elm Springs Road. We've got some, looks like we've got some at least penny-sized hail up to nickel-sized hail going right over the Experimental Walmart. And then you head east into Springdale, we've got some of that hail as well. You go north, we're included at J.B. Hunt headquarters. It's a little bit smaller, it looks like. Looks like the larger hail is right there at the exit of Elm Springs. Let's see, going south, I-49, Sunset. We still have some hail for us too. Let's see. And that hail stretches in, kind of skimming us in Johnson. There towards the Blessings Golf Course, we've got some of that hail, Arbest Ballpark too. But you can see where Lake Fayetteville is, right there, right smack dab center. We've got some hail that's coming in towards us, so watch out for that. Anywhere from the Uptown District, there towards the Shoguns in Fayetteville. You head north past towards Springdale Country Club. You got the Outback there. You've got the furniture store where we got hit by that tornado back in March, is where we're also watching some of that hail come in right now. Let's see. But all the rest, it looks like south into the river valley. A little bit less, but we have some small hail going right over the Sequoia Wildlife Refuge there, getting close to the Kerr Reservoir Dam as you cross on 59. We've got some hail potentially coming in towards us as well. All right, so let's go ahead and go back to normal radar. We're still waiting in Fort Smith, but we're watching this pocket across Sequoia County. That's coming in from the west. Sallisaw, we're about to be smacked by this one. It looks like the gustiest wind threat is coming out of the metros of northwest Arkansas, and it looks like this thing is kind of picking up in some of its wind potential as we move off towards the south into Sequoia County. All right, so there we go. This is velocity. We'll zoom in a little bit more. Looks like we got some gusty winds. Offhand, I'm going to look at some of these reports that are coming in. We do have some rotation there. A little bit hard to tell. We got some slight rotation little messy, but south of Sallisaw in between Brent. We'll watch this. It's weak, but we'll continue to monitor that as it's moving through. Otherwise, we've got some gusty winds that are pushing through. It looks like this severe thunderstorm warning is about to be expired here shortly. That goes into Sequoyah County, but still some wind with that too, and some slight rotation. So we got to keep that eye out south of Sallisaw. But otherwise, the heavy rain's coming into Sallisaw, Brent as well. We're picking up some of that heavy rain. I'm going to switch back to radar. Let's zoom in a little bit closer. Yep, so the one back west will be canceled here in a moment. We got a new severe thunderstorm warning. That's headed right towards Fort Smith. So we're still going to watch right in between Sallisaw and Brent. You see this? You got some rotation here, something to watch. This storm is headed towards Fort Smith, though. We're going to first get it in Muldrow and Roland. Current wind speed on this up to 60 miles per hour. This thing's moving. I'm trying to look at a couple things. Let's see. Looks like this thing's moving about 40 miles per hour. Let's get a closer look. Maybe closer to 50. Okay. All right, so let's zoom out just a little bit. Let's time this storm. When's it going to hit Fort Smith, Roland, and Muldrow as it moves east? All right, latest timings on this storm. River Valley's getting closer to being our turn. Northwest Arkansas, boy, we got blasted with some of that wind. That was a loud storm. But now in the River Valley, we're watching this line that's starting to come in. Everything's at a slant. So when it comes at a slant like this, we get hit in Northwest Arkansas first, and then the River Valley next, with just how the topography goes. Roland, 1127. Fort Smith, they're about 1145-ish is when we'll watch this line come in. We still have that gusty wind that's coming in right past Sallisaw right now. Alma, right there around midnight. And then Lavaca, close to 12:15 or so. 12:16 you see officially on the computer. But we're going to watch this just blast right along. I-40, we're next. It's going to get pretty loud. I'm going to switch some of the cameras here for a moment. We'll keep this up, keep that timeline up. I want to show you what it looks like outside as you're looking from Pensacola, for example. Let's pull that camera up. It's going to be hard to see now because the rain is close. Look at those clouds, too. Looks very ominous as you're headed towards Fort Smith. All right, Trevor, you still in the control room? Could we stop that recording on Bentonville, and could we do a new recording on Pensacola? Okay, that's great. We'll do the Choctaw Casino cam. All right, you can guys see that storm coming in from the west right now, getting very loud across northern Leflore County, Sequoyah County. We keep getting louder and louder as that storm is coming in from the west. Looking at a couple reports, we had some dime-sized hail in a couple of different portions of Bentonville, Garfield, Centerton, Vaughn. We had some penny-sized hail. Quarter-sized hail reported on the west side of Springdale, and there's another report in Springdale too. Nickel-sized hail reported in Taneytown. So we've had some small hail push on through. Usually you got to get quarter-sized hail to start producing some damage, but let us know what you guys picked up as well. But looking at some of those reports, that's where we picked up some of that hail. We'll continue to watch those hail threats, but they're a little bit on the lower side than they were earlier today. Earlier today, we were talking about golf ball sized hail, sometimes even getting a little bit bigger. But this is our next storm that's coming right at us in the River Valley. Pensacola, you're getting a front row seat watching this lightning come in from the west right now. You can see those clouds hanging low as this moves westbound too. All right, let's take a closer look at this storm with radar. All right. Looks like severe thunderstorm warning in 8 area counties being trimmed a little bit. Very heavy rain coming at us in Stillwell and Westville, Christie included in that. Greasy, you head south, right towards Brushy as well. There's that heavy rain. And there's that storm coming at us. Muldrow, Roland, here within the next 10 minutes or so. we're going to be watching this storm blast through us. We had a little pocket of rain come through Muldrow for a second, but it's that line off towards the west. We'll take a closer look at some of this hail that could potentially be out there. Looks like we got a pocket of hail now. And the latest scan has had an uptick. Right there in 59. You know, as you're going up, you're up the hill, and then you kind of go back down the hill as you head towards the exit with I-49. Right there on the hill, where's that restaurant family used to go to? That's there as well. 59, that's where we're watching that hail, and then just north of the Kerr Reservoir Dam. So you're south of those dealerships off the exit, and you're watching there towards 59. Getting close to the dam is where we've got some of this hail. This is quarter-sized hail and could get even close to ping-pong-sized hail in that darker blue color, but that's crossing right over 59. Where's this thing going next? Let's track this. Let's zoom out a little bit, and let's time this out and put a new timeline of about 50, 55. This thing is sped up a little bit. All right, something to watch. Will it hold its strength? Hard to say here at the moment. A lot of these have been cycling. They get big, the hail dumps out a little bit and kind of weakens and then starts getting larger again. But this is the general track, kind of hugging right along I-40 and the Arkansas River. Muldrow, 1129, Roland, 1134, closer to 1140 for Fort Smith, Alma, 1152, and Mulberry, once you're right on the eastern end of Crawford County, right before you get into Franklin County, right there around midnight. So we've got a ways to go as we watch the storm coming in from the west, but we do have that hail that is trying to come down right now. Let's send you back to radar. All right, zoom a little bit closer. We've got some wind with this associated as well. Still watching closer to Gaines. So just south of I-49. Something to watch. There is some slight rotation coming in around Gaines. Most of these storms are probably going to have a little bit of rotation in the river valley. We have better just spin in the atmosphere once you head south of the mountains with this setup. But we still have that gusty wind that's trying to plow on through right now. Let me get you some updated wind speeds too. Look like some of these winds coming in a little bit weaker, closer to 50 miles per hour. As these are coming through Hanson, Blackjack, Muldrow, Baldridge, Foreman. We're watching some of that wind going down 64 or I-40, depending on which one you like better. And then looks like the old Highway 64 too is going to be getting some of that wind here shortly there on the south side of Roland before you wrap into town. All right. Quick update from the National Weather Service. Kind of like what we're mentioning, these ones are a little bit weaker with their wind. You still see that bright green, which shows you the wall of wind that's headed towards us. But it's a little bit weaker now than it was earlier. And with weaker winds, you're going to get weaker rotations. We still have a rotation, but if you can't get the wind speed to pick up a little bit more, it's going to be harder for it to rotate enough to produce a tornado at this time. We have rotation, but it is on the weaker side. So that's overall some good news. I know that's kind of a mumbo jumbo, but weaker winds are pushing on through right now, but still something to watch. Severe thunderstorm warning does include the rest of Sequoia County. You go from Sallisaw eastbound, we're included. So Bellefonte, north towards Brushy, we're right on the edge. We just had that wind blow on through in Brushy, and we're still getting some of that rain now. But the core of the winds is headed towards Fort Smith here very shortly. Looking a little bit farther south, what are you guys thinking about in LaFleur County, the rest of Sebastian County, Scott County? We're at more of an angle. These things are starting to, you got this final line. Severe thunderstorm warning coming out just on the southern end of Lake Eufaula, just west of Latimer County. So we still have a ways to go with some of these cells. Back off towards the west. Poto, we're still good for a while. You may see some lightning strikes there as you look northwest towards Bacoshi on the other side of Kavanaugh Hill. But right now, it looks like the biggest wind and the heaviest rain, the most frequent lightning is pushing in from Sequoyah County, headed east into Van Buren and Fort Smith first. Cedarville, Uniontown, we're included in the severe thunderstorm warning, headed towards us here within the next 15 minutes or so, maybe 20 minutes. We'll watch that. Let's take a closer look back off towards the east. If you guys live in Johnson County, Franklin County, Logan County, we still have a while. You may be asking, when am I going to get storms? Well, over time, this line will continue to weaken. I think the farther east you live, not that you don't have to watch the weather, but it's not going to be as intense probably as it moves east, as we're continuing to lose the heat that we picked up throughout the day. Guys, earlier today we hit 77. That was a frequent number across the river valley. But as these storms march east, they should continue to slowly weaken. We've been watching that weakening process over the course of this evening. What we've noticed is that a lot of the heavy rain continues to just pour out and the winds are gusting out. But as that takes place, the storms will eventually start to kind of weaken over time. New severe thunderstorm warning kind of being trimmed, being edited by the National Weather Service to include us in Fort Smith and in Van Buren. So it's headed right towards us. Let's look at some of the hail. We do have that hail threat that was near the Kerr Reservoir Dam. This is looking at past hail and current hail. Real quick from north to south, look how we've had some of that hail across northwest Arkansas, mainly north of Fayetteville. You pick up some of that hail in Johnson and Springdale. Anywhere, most of us probably picked up some dime-sized hail at some point as that line was pushing on through with some of those gusty winds, it looks like. And then we've also picked up in the blue areas, maybe quarter-sized hail. We had a pocket there over Pinnacle. You head west to Cave Springs. We've had some hail. Centerton, Bentonville West High School, looks like we've had some hail in around us. And then Garfield, close to the Pea Ridge. Military Park, we've had some of that hail. And then right over Prairie Creek, we've had some of that hail too. But let's look farther south now as that thing continues to blow some rural areas of Carroll County. Eureka Springs, we're kind of next. We're watching some of that hail too. Farther south, mainly, I mean, we got hail along this line, but it's pretty weak. You're getting some penny-sized hail. That doesn't generally, or pea-sized hail. It doesn't generally do a lot of damage. It can get loud though, but we're still watching that hail, but we got a core to talk about. Let's zoom in a little bit closer here to southern Sequoyah County. This is just skirting us on the south side of Sallisaw. Let me put on the previous hail and then we'll just do the current hail. We've had some hail right towards I-40, some hail dropping stones right along 64 and I-40 there east of Sallisaw before you get to the Muldrow exit. We've had some hail headed towards Blackjack next. Now let's take a look at where the current hail is. And let's zoom out just a little bit. So right there, Hanson and Gaines, we're watching some of that hail. We had some hail near the Kerr Reservoir Dam, especially on the northern shore and into Sequoyah County. Not as much in LaFleur County. Remember, we're at an angle still. So it takes us a little bit longer. The farther south you live, you just got to wait longer for some of these storms. But then if you wait longer, you may have also the chance to weaken things. Let's take a look. This hail core still. It's right along I-40. So there, south of Hanson, east of Sallisaw. And this thing's going to continue to move into Muldrow and Roland. So in Muldrow and Roland, be on the lookout for hail coming in here shortly for you guys. Going right down 64 into town. Remy and Dora, we're also going to have some hail here shortly. This is, once again, about penny to nickel sized hail that's coming down 64. So that's going to be pretty loud. Could put some small dents in your vehicle outside as well. Just looked at a report. We've got some grape-sized hail in Sallisaw that passed on through. So still some decent hail that we've had this evening. And now it's mainly pressing eastbound out of Sallisaw. With Sallisaw, we're pretty much good now. Boy, that was loud there for a moment. But 64 and I-40. There's Fort Smith. We're still waiting. Probably have another 15, 20 minutes before it comes right at us. And then you look at some of these southern cells. Looks like we got a small little kernel of hail. Southern end of Lake Eufaula. It's headed eastbound too. All right, let's kind of start from the beginning. Oh, do you see that? It's a live look in Bentonville, and you're looking back towards the east now. The rain is going to continue on and off here for a while, but you're looking east to where that storm that dropped some of that pea-sized hail and nickel-sized hail across most of the metros in northwest Arkansas from Johnson, North Fayetteville. We kind of got skimmed there, and that's where we had the edge of the severe thunderstorm warning too. But most of the hail was from Johnson north into Springdale, Tawnytown, into Rogers and Bentonville too. But you're still going to see some flashes of lightning here on the backside. Notice how it looks really fuzzy there in the sky because you're looking from the backside. So you're not probably going to see as many of the bolts anymore. You're looking into the storm, and so those bolts are going to be a little bit more faded. But this is a wide view. We still have that severe thunderstorm watch that goes until 3 a.m. Multiple severe thunderstorm warnings out there as this line presses in from the west. Looks like this thing coming out from McAllister is looking pretty healthy too. We'll watch that as it comes into Latimer and LaFleur counties later this evening. But right now, the most immediate threat will be Fort Smith as we watch that kernel of hail coming in from Salisaw, coming in from Hanson, coming right in from right into Muldrow and Roland here next, going right down 64. We've got some small hail, but mainly a lot of lightning and some gusty winds at times with that Adair County storm right into Stillwell and Westville. This is going to be coming into Fayetteville here shortly. Fayetteville kind of got skimmed. They're on the north side of Fayetteville, there towards Uptown, north of the Shoguns. That's where we're watching some of that hail earlier, basically north of the Fulbright Expressway. Once you head south into the Stephen Carr exit at Weddington, and once you head south to MLK, we're kind of getting skimmed, but we still have more storms off towards the west. We're not done yet, but we got skimmed with that first round. So we'll watch this second round come in. It's crossing the state line here very shortly. They're towards Cincinnati, Arkansas, and eventually towards Morrow. Lincoln, we're going to be next. This thing's probably going to travel right down 62, right from Lincoln into Prairie Grove, and then into Farmington, eventually into downtown Fayetteville. You're looking at the Fort Smith storm right now. Let me put the, I'm going to loop this. There we go. So things moving east. Here's a closer look at the high-resolution radar data, too. We no longer have any severe thunderstorm warnings for the metros in northwest Arkansas. We'll watch this batch that's coming in. You see that heavy rain coming in from the west. Still some lightning, but not as frequent as that lightning that we just had blow through parts of Bentonville and Rogers. This is coming at us in Fayetteville. We're here within probably the next 20 minutes or so. This one's definitely going to hit us. This one has to. The other one's kind of at an angle, so we got skimmed. This one's going to plow through Fayetteville and Greenland and West Fork here within 20 minutes. And then as you get towards Cedarville and Uniontown, it looks like this rain is about to cross the state line. So that means your guys are next. But it looks like we just have some gusty winds, probably at 58 miles per hour or lower. That's where you get that severe thunderstorm warning being issued by the National Weather Service. 58 miles per hour or a little bit lower than that. That's probably what we're up to, 58. So we'll watch that. And then we still have that new, I guess we got a new severe thunderstorm warning headed in for the rest of Latimer, Haskell, and western LaFleur County right now. This does not include Poto at the moment. And you can see Poto, you can see the Kavanaugh Hill, the crest of it, right there next to the O. So we're not included yet, but we'll watch that. It's probably closer to about Bakoshi or so. We're right on the edge of that severe thunderstorm warning. Fort Smith, we're coming in next. Let me move some cameras around here for a moment. I want to show you what it looks like outside in Bacola. Look at that lightning. We'll move around just a little bit. You're looking directly north now. So you're looking now into Fort Smith, now just east of due north. You can see the city of Fort Smith, and this thing's coming right at us. So if we move back off towards the west, look at the lightning as it's just blasting on through. All right, so let's now, I'm gonna move Bentonville. That storm is pretty much wrapping up for us in Bentonville, so that's some good news. But let's take a look and move to the Mercy camera in Fort Smith. Well, we're next. We're waiting for some storms. It's been a while. Here as we get closer to midnight. Let's see. I'll move. All right. Gotta get the right banner there. Okay, so you're looking for Fort Smith. I'm gonna pull up our Fort Smith camera controls. Give me just about 10 seconds to do that. And we'll kind of look around. Right now you're looking down Rogers Avenue. And let's look a little bit, you're looking kind of southeast. But if we look back a little bit south and west, You might eventually start to see some lightning. There you go. So you're looking, there's the Mercy Hospital. It might take a second for you guys to see. It's kind of like there might be a 1 minute delay on this camera. But you're going to see the Mercy Hospital here in just a moment. You're looking live in Fort Smith. There it goes. There it goes. So now you're looking towards the airport. Now you're looking back northwest along Rogers Avenue, and there's that storm. You can see the lightning off in the distance. Some loud rumbles are about to just blow right through Fort Smith here very shortly as we watch these storms. All right, so you're looking at this storm right here. Got some gusty winds plowing on through right at the edge of severe limits. So we've got some lightning. Not as impressive as that northern storm was, but still some lightning coming in to Roland and Muldrow. Let's take a look at some of the hail right now. So that hail core kind of crossed 64, headed towards Blackjack, Hanson, and Maple, east of Seven Oaks in Sequoia County. Take the tracks off. Look at what it looks like now. That hail threat has really reduced. That's great news. I'll show you what it's done over the past 15 minutes. See the track, how it's really started to weaken as it's moving east. So the hail may not be as bad in Fort Smith. That's some good news. But it's still going to get very loud as that heavy rain comes in from the west. Looks like the severe thunderstorm warning is going to be set to expire here shortly in Adair County as we watch this line come in to Sequoia County. Let's time this out. I'm going to do about 45 miles per hour towards the east. So let's time this out, headed towards Fayetteville. If you guys live in... Okay, so Fayetteville right here along around 11:53, so just under 20 minutes from now. Goshen just after midnight. Rogers 11:51, and Lincoln 11:36. Let's move a little bit farther south. Let's time out for Fort Smith. You're asking, when's it going to hit me in Fort Smith? Van Buren and Alma. Well, let's take a look. So Fort Smith, latest time, estimated about 45 miles per hour. 11:43, Alma, 11:52, Lavaca, 12:06, and then Ozark as we get closer to 12:30, and Coal Hill included on that as too. This storm's still moving about 45 miles per hour, so that's about right. Has slowed down a little bit, so that's interesting. Still watching for you guys in Poteau and Huebner and Worcester and Howell. May be a little bit still before we get these storms. The farther south you go, there's not as strong of a gusty wind coming in and from the backside and just pushing this thing forward. We've noticed that farther north, where those gusty winds have really just plowed these storms through. These are taking a little bit longer as they come in from Wilburton. Beautiful driving territories there in the Ouachita's. Red Oak, we're going to be next. You can see where Lake Worcester is on the map with the blue. Here within probably the next 45, 50 minutes, we'll watch some of these storms come in from the west. But right now, the biggest threat is coming into Fort Smith, and we've got some wind that's coming into Washington County. Looks like the warning's been trimmed in Cherokee County. That's some good news. But right now, Fort Smith is where we're going to keep our eye here for a second. I'm going to reduce this the past 15 minutes. Right now, we're on a 30-minute loop. You're looking at Fort Smith. This thing has weakened a little bit. Let's see. I'm going to switch. It looks like there was some rotation on this storm a little bit earlier. It's weak. We still have it. It's a little bit better upstairs once you go a couple thousand feet up, but very weak rotation, mainly gusty winds. As we're looking at some of these winds blowing through Bellefonte and Long right now, it looks like we've got some radar estimations around 40. So it's definitely weakened quite a bit. That's still some good wind, but that wind will be crossing into Cedarville here very shortly. We've got some of those winds. Looks like we've got 30 to 40 mile per hour winds blowing through parts of Cedarville and Short. Uniontown, we're included in that as well. Mountainburg, we're about to get some of that rain here shortly too. But it looks like the strongest storm will be farther north. You go from I-40 and northbound. This is where we're watching Dora. We're going to get kind of hit by a little cluster of some lightning as it's coming on through. To better look at the lightning, I'm going to go back to this map right here. So what this shows you the radar, but then it also shows you where we've got those pockets of lightning. I'm going to take off the radar. The northern storm has weakened quite a bit. Ones that blasted through Bentonville and Rogers. We still have some small hail coming in towards Eureka Springs. We've got some lightning and some small hail coming into western Washington County. But it looks like we have a recent uptick in the latest scan as we're just outside of Fort Smith. So let's take a closer look at that as we zoom in to the heart of the river valley. Looks like the tribal government in, let's see, west of Wilburton, it looks like. So Latimer County, tribal authorities are just saying they picked up some golf ball sized hail. So we'll watch that line as it comes through. Here's that recent hail tracker. We might have upticked the scan just a touch as we're coming in to roll in. See that reissuing of the severe thunderstorm warning that lasts until midnight for the next 20 minutes. I'll take off the hail tracks. Let's just take a look at where the hail is now. And let's do the past 15 minutes. All right. You see where the warning is outlined by the yellow. We've got this small pocket of hail, still some penny-sized hail that's coming in towards Dora. But it looks like this thing is going to skim the north side of Fort Smith. You really got to get north of downtown, there towards the Riverfront Park, and northbound is where we'll watch this. Van Buren, we're going to get some hail here shortly, but it looks like this thing is barely in severe criteria. We'll see if the National Weather Service continues it on. There's the hail that we're getting, that report from Wilburton with some of the tribal authorities there in Latimer County, going down 270 right now. See that hail pocket over the past 15 minutes too. Bowers and Wilburton, Damon, Higgins, we're watching some of this hail. It looks like the heart of the hail is over the Ouachita, some of these ridges that you have between Wilburton and Damon. And that's probably going to continue in the next couple of scans. But anywhere along 270 and south of 270, watch out. Now, going down 270, as you get closer to LaFleur County, Red Oak, and Hughes, we'll watch for some of this hail as it comes in. So those are mainly three pockets of hail, it looks like. All on the weaker side, though. That's good. We're watching that hail cross into Washington County, close to Lincoln. Small, penny-sized hail. Got some penny-sized hail coming into Van Buren, and we've got some up to quarter-sized hail in Wilburton. Latimer County, headed east along 270. You guys in LaFleur County is something to watch. We'll have to see if it kind of meanders a little bit, but there's a chance that it gets closer towards Poteau and Worcester and Heavener here shortly. Latimer County deputy reporting some golf ball-sized hail 8 miles west of Wilburton. So it looks like that's probably our biggest pocket of hail. New scan coming in with the hail. Looks like the National Weather Service is not going, at least for now, issue a severe thunderstorm warning for this hail pocket that's going into Washington County. You still see the leftover severe thunderstorm warning. That'll be set to expire here soon. But right up 62, as you go into Lincoln, we've got some hail coming in. That includes Lincoln Lake south to Morrow. But then next would be Prairie Grove. We head into Tiger Country, and then you head in towards the Cardinals and Farmington. We're going to watch some of this hail. But right now, it's very small. We had larger hail in Benton County, where we picked up that penny, nickel, mainly nickel-sized hail. It seemed like most of the reports were. And there were a couple reports of some quarter-sized hail. That can do some damage. There may be some dents in some cars. And you may even have a little bit of roof damage in parts of northwest Arkansas after that hail pushed on through. But this one's a lot smaller that's coming into Washington County. Latest scan. Let's loop this. Yep, newest scan has really reduced the one for Van Buren. So you see where that gray is. Got some of that hail coming to Dora. I mean, this is some small hail. These storms are weakening as they're pressing east, especially with this delay that we've had. It's kind of helping us out in the river valley, to be honest. But we're not done yet. We still have to watch these. Let's go back to radar. Still got that strong thunderstorm. Not so much in gusty winds as much with this northern storm. But let's look a little bit farther south. New severe thunderstorm warning just being reissued. Let's take a look at some of the velocities here. That's the wind, the speed of the wind. Still got some of that rotation also to the north. All right, let's take a look from Fort Smith. I'm going to move these cameras for just a second. All right, let's take you live outside with our camera. There's in Pensacola. You can see that mezzo right there. Look at that. You're looking directly north. So that's where we have some rotation. We'll continue to watch that. You're looking live at some rotation that's coming in towards Van Buren. It's stronger upstairs in this thunderstorm right now. So you can see the outline. A little bit of a lowering. All you're watching is some rotation. Not enough to issue a tornado warning yet, but we are watching some of that rotation. We can still see underneath. We're looking pretty good, but this is a pretty nasty storm. The lightning has gone up, so there may be some strengthening on the storm. So we're kind of watching that evolve over time, but you're looking in from Pensacola, you're looking directly north. So you're looking right up and down the state line. That thing's right on the state line in LaFleur County. You're looking directly north between Sequoia County and Crawford County right now. Looking at that cell. Got a new National Weather Service is going to be issuing a new severe thunderstorm warning here shortly for Washington County with some hail and wind threats, just right at the severe limit, under 60 miles per hour, and maybe up to quarter-sized hail for Washington County. I'll show you that in a moment. That's a new update coming in from the National Weather Service. What was that? A little bit more lighting. Some of the lighting actually helps you see a little bit better. Let's take a look in Fort Smith. A little bit harder to see because we've got Mercy Hospital that's kind of blocking us just a little bit. Yeah, that one's going to be tough. I think our best camera is probably going to be Pensacola. I'll zoom out for a second, get a wider scope. There's that storm coming in. We also have that new severe thunderstorm warning in Washington County. It was allowed to expire, but it may be starting to weaken or strengthen again after it weakened for the past couple of scans. And that's something that we're going to continue to notice. Things strengthen and then they weaken over time. This is a wide view. You've got the dark clouds, I mean the red color, kind of that rainbow color there on the back side. They're right on the map. That shows you the clouds that we have out there, just kind of overreaching. And then this is showing you the lightning. And it looks like our strongest lightning is in Fort Smith right now. And that's where we're watching the strongest storm. But we do have that new severe thunderstorm warning that includes Washington County, Prairie Grove, Lincoln. We're getting some of that rain here right now. Here's a closer look with radar. This thing's coming in pretty hot. Down 62. Farmington's rain's picking up for us. Johnson is about to start pouring for you guys again. And then the warning cuts off there at Don Tyson and Sunset. Right there towards the Northwest Arkansas Children's Hospital is where that thing cuts off. But new severe thunderstorm warning for Washington County. Let me show you what it looks like outside from Springdale. Look at that lightning. I'm going to move this a little bit farther east. The cloud look interesting. So you kind of see that floating cloud ahead. That's just some humidity, it looks like. Be a nice lightning bolt would help out to view that a bit better. But nasty storm coming into Washington County. This one's been kind of waiting to blossom over Adair County, and now it's finally growing a bit again. I'll tell you one thing. These storms have been loud, and they have been bright as well. coming in from Oklahoma this evening. We got a report for you guys in Carroll County. Got some half-dollar sized hail and quarter-sized hail in around Eureka Springs. Got some reports there as we were watching that cell that blasted through northwest Arkansas here a little bit earlier today. Let's take you back to radar. See what we got, this line, this nasty line from west to east, crossing the state line right now, finally moving into downtown Fort Smith and Van Buren right now. Heavy rain, very loud out there. Finally, this thing has arrived. We're watching some more cells back off towards the west. This has got some nasty wind with it too, and some very heavy rain and lightning coming across Wilburton and headed towards Red Oak and Hughes, trying to cross into LaFleur County here shortly. Poto, we're going to be getting some very heavy rain here within the next 30 to 40 minutes or so. Maybe closer to the 40 to 45. And in Fayetteville, boy, that wall of water is coming right at us too. This thing's moving a little bit faster north into Fayetteville. We got gusty winds. Take a look at velocity right now. Yep, just a lot of wind. And it looks like, let me grab the iPad for a second. Looks like the wind across Washington County, 50, 52, mainly around 50-mile-per-hour winds. There could be some gusts embedded in that could get closer to the 60-mile-per-hour range, but right now closer to 50 miles per hour or so across Washington County, Fayetteville, into Greenland and West Fork. We've got some of that wind. It's very breezy with these storms tonight. I'll tell you what, I mean, we won't have 60-mile-per-hour winds overnight, but we're going to have some nice northwest winds trying to cool us down. Tomorrow morning, you're going to wake up in some 40s and some 30s across northwest Arkansas, especially. Let's see. Let's zoom a little bit farther south. So got some of that rotation, something to watch. And we were watching that with some of our cameras. I'm going to go back to Bacola. There's Mercy. There's Bacola. Kind of watching it with you guys too. Once you get some of those flashes of lightning, especially the bigger bolts, you can see things a little bit more clearly. I'm going to move the camera a little bit more towards the right. It looks like you do have a circulation pointing towards the north. There it is. Look at that. Hey, Trevor, in the control room, are we still on the Bacola cam? Okay. Do you know how much longer that goes? Does it say? Could we go ahead and restart that? I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, you're looking live in Bacola. We're going to stick on this for a moment. Don't have a tornado, but we do have rotation right now. You can see that on the cameras as you're looking from the Choctaw Casino right now, and you're looking towards the north. So there it is. There's that rotation that's crossing the state line right now, right over Van Buren. That's something for us to watch. I'm going to pull up one quick moment. I want to do one more check of the hail, and then we're going to sit back on that camera. It looks like okay, hail's a lot weaker. I need to focus back on the mezzo. All right, you can see that right there. Hanging down a little bit. We're going to keep on this for a moment. Very defined edge, especially on the west side. But you are looking live at where we have some rotation coming across the state line right in to Van Buren right now. Beautiful shot there as you come into Bacola. No tornado warning right now. It's spinning though. But most of the rotation's a little bit higher up in this storm. It's a little bit less as you go farther down. But up there it is spinning. And so I'm sharing a couple things with the National Weather Service right now. But you are looking live from the Choctaw Casino. I mean, this thing is right on the state line. So, to put it in perspective, Let's see. This thing is near the Lee Creek Reservoir recreation area. You're on the northwest side of Van Buren, but this thing is coming into Van Buren, coming right down I-40 right now. Sorry, doing a couple things at the same time, but we're gonna keep looking at that camera. This is the thing to really watch here. I'm gonna outline it for you guys. You guys see that lowering? Do a different color. But as long as we can keep an eye on it, we'll be okay. This thing is definitely rotating. The iCam would be great, yeah. Yep, all good. Thanks, Trevor. So I can't do this without my team in the control room. All right, but you're still looking at that mesocyclone right now. Right. It's now a little bit farther east, coming into the west side of Van Buren. We're going to be crossing over 59 here shortly. You know, the main thoroughfares are coming right through Van Buren. Let's see. Trying to send a couple things to the National Weather Service so they can see as well. Move this over a little bit. The lighting really helps you able to see that rotation. Newest scan and the radar coming in. Looks like it's starting to rotate a little bit more. So we need to watch this closely. Let's see. I'm going to save. But you're looking live. This is going to stay, the rotation is going to stay north of Fort Smith. If you're in Fort Smith, you don't have to worry about this rotation. This is more over Van Buren and then north into Cedarville. So north side Van Buren, you got to be north of I-40. So you got to be past the Walmart, you got to be past the Lowe's. Once you get north of the Walmart and Lowe's, even past the Tractor Supply, you're headed north towards the Crawford County Speedway and near Cedarville is where this thing is going to be next. Moving east, eventually hopping on 348. This will be headed towards Rudy and the Frog Bayou. Let's see. We'll pass over Rudy Road first, and then we'll head into actual Rudy here shortly. So you're looking live with our Picola iCam at this mesocyclone that's coming in. This is probably the most dangerous storm at this time. You go north into Fayetteville, we do have that heavy rain and lightning, and we've got some wind too, but this was the only one that has necessarily a rotating part to it. Waiting on some more of that lightning to come in. Helps you see. Let's see. Let's move the camera a little bit farther east now. Once again, you're looking live in Bacola. Emergency camera is not in view. There it is. All right, real quick, I'm gonna take you back to the radar for a second. Well, I have it on another screen, so if we get a couple more flashes, we'll take a closer look at it. You're looking at that storm and radar now. So you do see that structure. See how there's that indent? That's where you have the rotation. You have the rotation mainly now past Van Buren. Van Buren, we're good in terms of this rotation, but Hobtown, Rudy, that's where we have this rotating storm. I'm gonna turn it back to velocity. Let me move a couple things. There. All right. So what you're looking at right now is this rotation where the reds are meeting the greens. We don't have anything on the ground or anything like that, and no tornado warning. This thing is generally rotating higher up in the atmosphere. The low levels are a bit less impressive. You need all the levels to rotate, and then boom, you can get something to try to fall. But right now, it's mainly upper levels right now. But still, pretty good notch there. Right over Crawford County. Figure 5 just passed over, mainly south of Cedarville. It's between Cedarville, right there over the Crawford County Speedway, headed east on 348. You guys know where the Lawless Christmas Tree Farm? We did some Adventure Arkansas with those folks, some good family members there. Right there off of Highway 348. This thing is spinning right over the Lawless Christmas Tree Farm right now and headed east right towards Rudy. It's going to pass over the Johnson Cemetery and there's the Winfrey Cemetery, and you're headed east right over Frog Bayou. Frog Bayou, we're next, but you can see this rotation on the radar right now. So we look at it. It may be moving a little bit right over Frog Bayou at the moment. And then, so just east now, the Lawless Christmas Tree Farm, the Lancaster Bridge. And this is going to be headed right towards the I-49 truck stop there with the Workman's Travel Center that has, let's see, and that new Love's travel stop there, right off of I-49, just north of where you have the interchange with I-40. But there's that rotation. Mountainburg and Dean Springs is coming towards us. So Van Buren, we're looking pretty good now. Of course, we got heavy rain. It's loud. It's kind of breezy out there too. But this thing is more rotating to our north. Fort Smith, we got heavy rain too. Let's take a quick look, check for LaFleur County. Also, if I haven't mentioned your county, if I haven't been really talking about Logan County, Johnson County, Franklin County, Scott County, you're asking, when am I going to get storms? We still have to wait at least probably another hour or so, maybe a little bit sooner in Franklin County, where we got that severe thunderstorm warning that does include the western portion. So that goes right to Mulberry, close to Ozark, and then north into the mountains. But we still have to wait a little bit longer for Clarksville and Paris and Boonville. We've got this line that's going to come on through, and it's severely warned too. Up towards the north and northwest Arkansas, this storm is really weakened. I mean, there's some heavy rain and lightning and thunder, but it's not looking too crazy at this time. National Weather Service, reading a couple things from them. They're noticing that rotation too. And I'm going to take us back to our camera, because eventually this thing's going to be a little bit too far north and east to really see it very well anymore. There's Springdale. Find where it is. All right, let me move this for a second. But Rudy, Mountainburg, Dean Springs, that's where we're watching this rotation. You're looking directly over Fort Smith. So it's on the other side of Fort Smith from Pacola's perspective. Be nice to get a couple lightning strikes, help see just a little bit better. Just trying to focus. The flashes of lightning, there's an autofocus feature right now. I'm trying to disable that because when the lightning strikes come in, it kind of messes with it. You get that bright flash. Just waiting for a flash so we can zoom a little bit better. It's going to be harder and harder to see as this storm pushes east. You're pushing away from the camera. So it's just going to get harder to see. But yeah, you saw that storm off in the distance there for a second. All right, I'm going to leave this up for a moment. I'm checking with the National Weather Service. Let's see. Nothing new so far. They're watching the rotation as well. No tornado warning at this time. As soon as it became tornado warning, we will let you know. Here's a closer look at the radar again. You're still watching that curve. I'm going to pull up something just for a moment. Let's see. Sweeping radar. Okay, so I'm looking at the turbulence in the atmosphere, and it's on the lower side, which is good. More turbulent it is, there's a better chance that something looks kind of gnarly. There's a look at that velocity again. A bit weaker now, a little bit more jumbled up. Still something to watch. It's getting a little messy as it heads into the mountains, and that may continue to be the case. Got a report in from Wilburton. We've got nickel-sized hail that went on through. So we've had some hail across Latimer County. Look at that pocket. That's some up to about ping pong sized ball hail, but that's over the mountain ridges in between Wilburton and Damon. Let's see, let's show you the hail now, and we'll do over the past 30 minutes. We'll loop it. And we're gonna take a look at the hail area wide real quick. It looks like the hail's really weakened in the latest scans, pretty much area wide. There's a little bit of hail near Tallahena and LaFleur County, and then also the town of LaFleur and LaFleur County. There could be some small hail around us, but it looks like that hail pocket has weakened. Farther towards the north, you're looking at some of that hail that's crossing over I-49, but it's on the weaker side too. The bigger threat is that rotation that we're watching in the atmosphere. A little bit jumbled, but what you're looking at generally would be about here. So watch that rotation. Let me take you outside. Here's looking for Smith. So you're looking towards where the rotation would be, but the Mercy Hospital is a little bit in the way. It's a better view when you're looking south and west. This is a live look in Pensacola again. What you see here, let's see something real quick. This is not an overhang. I know it kind of looks scarier than it is. That's just humidity. But that rotation would be a little bit farther towards the east. From this perspective, you would want to look somewhere in here, but it's just going to get far from the camera, so that'll be tough. I want to show you what it looks like outside in Washington County, where we have that severe thunderstorm warning. This is just a lot of heavy rain and some wind, but it's not as impactful as some of the storms off towards the south. But very loud across Fayetteville and Springdale and Johnson. It's just pouring right now. It looks like you're in a washing machine at the moment. Here's a look at that radar. From north to south, we generally have severe thunderstorm warnings. We're getting the heavy rain in Benton County, not severe. Washington County, heavy rain along I-49 and to the east of I-49. This is all headed into Goshen and Elkins. Huntsville, we're going to be next. Alabama, Wharton and Japton, we're watching some of the heavy rain too. You head south towards the Bobby Hopper Tunnel. We're also under that severe thunderstorm warning. And then it's really this rotation that we continue to watch, that right in here. So just south of Mountainburg, in between Dean Springs, right there at the exit with that new Love's. You got that Workman's there as well. So So this is going to stay north of Fort Smith, of course. Now Fort Smith, we're getting some of that heavy rain, but it's not as bad. Not as bad for us. We still have some heavy rain off towards the south. Looks like we got a new severe thunderstorm warning for the rest of Lafleur County. This includes Panama, Poteau, Heavener, as these storms march in from the west. You see where Kavanaugh Hill is. All the rain's on the west side of Kavanaugh Hill. Kavanaugh Hill's right here, kind of elongated. East-northeast to east-southeast. Sorry, west-southwest. So we'll watch this line. This is the round that's going to finally clip us in Poteau and Heavener and Greenwood and Mansfield and Waldron and Paris and Boonville. It's been taking us forever, but it's finally coming into Lafleur County right now. And here it is, just after midnight. 12:10 is the current time. But we'll continue to watch that as it comes into Poteau. I want to look at some of these winds as they're marching in to Lafleur County and off. So you're seeing it on the map there. I'm going to pull up some of these wind speeds estimations. We've got some 59, 60 mile per hour winds coming into Lafleur. Fanshawe, we've got some of those 60 mile per hour winds, a little bit weaker north into Bekoshi. More lightning though. We've got some decent lightning coming into Bekoshi. McCurtain getting some of that heavy rain. And then farther south towards Tallahena, looks like we also have some about 58 mile per hour winds. New update from the National Weather Service. Watching that mesocyclone, what we're watching is that rotation, but it looks like it's a couple thousand feet up that we're watching it, and really not showing that tightening in the lower levels, kind of like what we were talking about earlier. It's you got to tighten in all different levels. You can't just spin up there. It's fine, it can spin up there all it want. As long as it doesn't spin down here, we're good. And so far, that's been the case. But from the storm's perspective, if it wants to drop a tornado, it can't. It's got to get those low levels rotating too. We're not seeing as much of that rotation a little bit lower into the atmosphere. So we'll take a closer look at that in a second. But right now, Lafleur County is where we're watching just a wall of wind coming in from the west. Fanshawe, Tallahena, Poteau will be next. We're going to watch this wind come in within the next 20 minutes. Let me get you a timeline for the storm across Lafleur County, and then we're going to extend it into the River Valley as well. All right. Let's see. So we're watching these storms. I'm going to put it in map, step off for a second. All right, so Poteau, 12:22, here in just about 10 minutes or so. Greenwood, 12:45, 1:16 for Boonville, 1:25 for Paris, and 1:28. They're towards the airport in Paris. Let me restart a couple of things. I'm going to go back to... All right, so you're looking at the radar, watching that rotation off in the distance. For a second, let's pull up... I know I'm all over the place. Okay, you see that on the screen? So that's Bacola, and you're looking towards that rotation. It looks like it's weakened a little bit more in some of that latest radar scan. That rotation that we were tracking earlier there with that mezzo that was right over the state line, headed towards the Crawford County Speedway. That thing's moving east by about 40 miles per hour, but it is weakening a little bit. Lots of lightning though as you're going into Mountainburg and Chester. But the rotation itself still spinning a little bit over the south side of Mountainburg, just south of the school there. So we're going to continue to watch that. Let's see. All right. Back off to the north, we have the severe thunderstorm over Washington County. But most of the rain's on the east side of I-49 that is going to hit us in Elkins and Goshen. Hinesville, Huntsville were included on this as well.
And then in Cedarville and Uniontown, we're getting lighter rain now reporting. Back off towards the south, LaFleur County. There towards Worcester and Panama. We're watching some of that as well. But it looks like the strongest thunderstorms are just towards the north right now into Panama and Spiro. If you notice, there's kind of a wider end to some of the red that you see on the radar. That's where we have more of that frequent lightning as well, as it's crossing in from Panama and Shady Point and Podo right now. Fort Smith, we got the heavy rain for us too. Van Buren, you're included with that severe thunderstorm warning, heavy rain reporting over town. The 540 and Midland bridges were also included in that too. Headed east into Alma and Dyer. That's where we have the gusty wind threat right now. Newest scan coming in, kind of tightens that rotation just a little bit. But Chester, Mountainburg, watching that heavy rain with the rotation there more towards the east right now. It looks like the best rotation is now moving just outside of Mountainburg, headed eastbound into those mountains. So you're just a little bit away from Lake Fort Smith, and that's going to continue here for probably the next 5-10 minutes over Lake Fort Smith, and it's going to press east, eventually coming into Franklin County. But lots of lightning continues north into Washington County, Fayetteville, Springdale. Looks like we got a really pocket of heavy rain over the south side of Springdale here at the moment. Lots of lightning reported there as well. But things are really trying to weaken now as they press east. You still see that camera. Every once in a while you're going to see some lightning strikes there on the right-hand side of your screen, but it's starting to get out of view. So even if we had a strong mesocyclone, it probably wouldn't show up too much on this camera anymore. Another scan just came in. Looks like that rotation is generally, you see where the pocket of hail, or the pocket of lightning looks the most robust right now. As you look just south of that I-49 logo, there towards Chester and Mountainburg, where the rotation itself is just to the south. Here's velocity. So you're going down Old Lock Road. So you're just south of Lake Fort Smith. There where the dam is where we have that rotation. So Old Lock Road, you get past, so you got to go past it's past the Dragon Stadium, Mountainburg Senior High School, and you head east. You're going up that hill and into the mountains towards Locke and Lake Fort Smith is where we have some of that rotation still. But still just severe thunderstorm warning with storms off towards the south. Heavy rain now approaching Podo. Kavanaugh Hill, we're likely to look at some of that rain here shortly. So with that Picola ICAM, we're not going to see much more. So I'm going to move. Now you're looking more towards Podo. Once it can focus for a second. Let's see. Now we're looking more towards Podo. You can see that lighting with that final round of storms coming in from the west right now. But Kavanaugh Hill, we're about to get soaked. Podo, about to get soaked as well. Got some good pockets of wind though in LaFleur County there towards Worcester, Lake Worcester specifically in the south side of Kavanaugh Hill. Let me pull up. Here's a wide view again. Let me take these words off now that the storm is here. Looping this.
All right, so there's the line. Pretty much north to south in 5 country. We've got these storms pressing on through. Looks like the still for some rotation on the southeast side of Lake Fort Smith is where you're looking. So Lake Fort Smith is about here on the map. Ignore the terrible drawing. But the rotation is closer to about here. So that's where we'll continue to watch. So the lake up north, rotation to the south. That's crossing into Franklin County right now, where we still have that severe thunderstorm warning. All right, metros in northwest Arkansas. You guys are in the clear. Yep, we still have the severe thunderstorm warning for Fayetteville technically, but that's going to be set to expire here shortly. If you live in Fayetteville, Springdale, Rogers, Bentonville, you are in the clear tonight. It's going to get a lot colder for you, though, as we push into the overnight hours. You may still have another 2-3 hours of some of this rain. Over time, it's going to lighten up for you. If you live in Siloam Springs, Gentry, Gravette, Decatur, Bella Vista, we're now in the clear. Back west, Prairie Grove, Farmington, Westville, and Lincoln, you guys in the clear. Sequoia County, you are mainly in the clear. We still have some strong thunderstorms in the extreme southeast, so southeast of Roland, really as you get more towards Pawpaw and Arcoma. So you got to be getting close to the Arkansas River. We're still on the lookout. But for the majority of us in Sequoia County, from Salisaw up to Brushy, you go west of Vian, Weber's Falls, Gore, Paradise Hill. We're a lot better now. We're in the clear. We essentially have 2 thunderstorms left that we're still going to watch here for a while. You got the storm right here that's crossing into Franklin County, and then you've got this long storm pressing into Poto right now. Let's take a closer look at some of the hail, see if that's kind of done anything. Let me take off the tracks, and let's do the past 30 minutes. So the hail in LaFleur County, very weak, but boy, it's going to be loud with the lightning and thunder across LaFleur County. But at least we don't have too much hail. I mean, you could pick up some pea-sized hail at your house with some of the heavy rain as it's coming down, but damaging hail is not expected at this time. We've had some pockets of hail across Crawford County. You can see that pocket near Mulberry now as you head north of Mulberry. It looks like that pocket is on 215. You go past the exit, you're towards the what was it? The House Reservoir. I think it's TJ House Reservoir. We have some small hail reporting around you guys. Rock Creek Road and Slate Hill Road as well. You have some hail over you guys, and this is crossing right over 215. In Mulberry, you're getting some of that hail too. So we'll watch that hail as it presses into Franklin County. But Mulberry, Pleasant View, Junior High School, you'll get some hail, maybe some small hail here shortly. Silver Bridge, if you guys cross Silver Bridge, there as you're trying to hop on the exit with Mulberry, some hail coming in for you guys. The place where we got the Mulberry River Outdoor Adventures, going down the river, not floating season yet, but it will be here before you know it. So will the heart of severe weather season, and look at us in February, already dealing with some severe weather like this. Turns Fern Gully, Fern Climbing area on some of the southern fringes of the Boston Mountains. There's Dragon's Egg. That's just south on 1019, past the River Ridge Park. We're getting some hail too, so we'll watch that. Very small hail pushing through Goshen and Elkins, some pea-sized hail at most right now. Tuttle, Hinesville, Hartwell and Huntsville, Roxton, Drakes Creek, and Wesley. You could get some small hail as this thing continues to press east as well. You see some of that hail right there, and that'll continue to move out.
Got a new severe thunderstorm warning coming in from National Weather Service. This is going to complete the storm. In northern Franklin County. Northern Franklin County, we have a severe thunderstorm warning because we still have some rotation on this storm as it's passing through. Overall storm's just kind of spinning. You have slight rotation here and then on the backside as well. So we're still watching that cross into Franklin County right now. That's moving east. I mean, it's in the heart of the Boston Mountains. This thing's going to be headed towards the White Rock recreational area. But they got a beautiful view of the lightning right now, I'll tell you what. But it's about to pour if it's not already pouring at White Rock. Let's head farther south into Poto. Heavy rain coming in for you guys. This is what it looks like outside as you're looking from Pensacola towards Poto. Just saw lightning strike a moment ago. We'll see if we can pop up another one. There you go. A little far out from the camera. But heavy rain, some gusty winds coming into Poto right now. And the rest of LaFleur County. Back to the radar. Storms continue to press east. Over time, they are weakening here a little bit. We don't have any tornado warnings, but we do have that multiple severe thunderstorm warnings. We got a new warning going up for, oh, it's just reflashing again. For southern Madison County, northern Franklin County. This does not include Ozark at this time, but Waterloo and headed north into the mountains towards White Rock. That's where we have the severe thunderstorm warning. I was watching this cluster of heavy rain come in from Bidville. Let me slow this down. Then back farther towards the south, Fort Smith. We don't have as many severe threats anymore. I mean, could we get clipped by another warning? It's possible, but it looks like the strongest storm towards our south will press into southern Sebastian County, maybe avoiding us in Fort Smith. Still want to watch in Fort Smith. And we got another round of heavy rain coming at us in the fort too. And this is going to be very, it's going to be pretty loud as well. We've got a pocket of lightning that is over, let me get my pointer out. We've got a pocket of lightning that's right at that stop on the west side of Spiro, just north of Shady Point. And then you head on that stretch on 59 where they have those signs where it talks about your speeds enforced by the aircraft. That spot right there, we have a lot of lightning. And that's going to continue eastbound through Spiro, Fort Coffee, the Spiro Mounds. We're included in that too. Pensacola, we're going to be included in some of that heavy rain as well. But the severe part of the storm is a little bit farther south. So we're watching this line right here. Poto, we're coming in. Let's take a look at velocity here. Got some slight rotation over Kavanaugh Hill right now. Let me pull up camera so we can keep that in view. We got some rotation near Kavanaugh Hill. It's on the weak side. But we're still watching it. You can see kind of how Kavanaugh slopes. Very weak rotation, but we have had some rotation over Poto too. Let's see. I'm gonna pull up that. So what we're watching right now is right here. Just some general, some small rotation. And we kind of knew this going into it. A lot of these storms would have some rotation with it. Just this time of year, pretty much every storm does. The dangerous part about this time of year is when you get warm days, like today, for example. There's that severe thunderstorm warning. continued by the National Weather Service. It includes all the way up to the state line. And what you're looking at is that camera in from Bacola, and you're looking south and west towards Poto right now. You're looking at that part of that new parking lot with the Choctaw Casino, and then you're looking towards Poto and Kavanaugh Hill at the moment. So some good lightning, but this storm's still a little bit far away from Bacola Cam. This is our closest camera that we have, so keep an eye on Poto right now. Just kind of watching the camera. I want to get a couple good lightning strikes, but it looks like, I mean, we do have some decent lightning around Poto. It's just hard to see with the heavy rain wrapped around that storm. I'll show you what it looks like. Just the lightning. See those lightning strikes coming in? Right over Kavanaugh Hill. It is loud here at the moment, from Worcester north to Panama and Shady Point. Here's a wide view of the storms pushing east. This one continues to weaken over time, but still producing some pretty good rainfall for us right now. Got a report of some hail in Poto. Looks like we got a new scan coming in. Look at this. We got some massive hail coming over Poto now. Quarter-sized hail right over the hill. This is going to be descending over Woodaville. That's right there on those ridges of Kavanaugh Hill. This is probably going to continue to northeast on 271 as you head towards Cameron. But we got a good pocket of hail now coming right over Kavanaugh. Let me turn off tracks. So this is just over the past 15 minutes. Yeah, look at that. Look how that just blew up for a second in the latest scan. So hail coming into Poto. That's the update. Quarter-sized hail now coming into town. There towards, well, anywhere in Poto. Anywhere from downtown north all the way to the Choctaw Plaza. And the Walmart there on the north side of town. So this cell will continue to move north and east, 271, crossing the Poto River, headed towards Cameron here shortly. Let's give you a quick update on this hail pocket. So here are your latest times. Cameron, 1240, 1245 in Rock Island, 1248 Bacola, and then crossing into Sebastian County, 1251 right now. As this thing's coming in, new severe thunderstorm warning coming into Sebastian County right now, mainly because of this hail core. We got hail up to, trying to look at some. Let's see. I think moving about 40 miles per hour, so it's slowly coming off the hill right now. And into the north side of Poto especially. We're getting clipped there towards downtown Poto, but this is some good hail that's coming into Poto right now. And they're up 271. All right. So you can kind of see how we line up. We've got, you go on 271, you hit Cameron, Rock Island, make that curve north, a little bit towards the left-hand turn as you're heading north into Bacola, as we're going to watch this cell. But new severe thunderstorm warning coming out. There's kind of highlighted. That's a better view. So we're going to be wrapping up Northwest Arkansas's threat here shortly. And when we're talking about Northwest Arkansas, it's not the metros anymore. It's more north or south into the Boston Mountains, where we've got that pocket of some hail, but mainly gusty winds. We've had some rotation on that storm too. But this headed east, south of Huntsville, north of Ozark, north of Mulberry. I wouldn't be surprised if we got a severe thunderstorm warning that clipped us in northern Johnson County for a little bit, but the heart of this storm is probably going to stay mostly into Madison and then go into Newton County here shortly. Towards the south, the main storm is right over Poto right now. The one that we're probably most concerned about is the Poto storm. It's going to be headed in Sebastian County. All right, actually, new scan in the mountains too. We've got some hail reporting in the mountains headed towards Watalula. See that next scan coming in too. Let's see. So you see how quickly how these things just kind of fire up for a second and then they weaken again. So right towards Jethro and Barnes. And then you can see some of the towns too: Mountaintop, Beech Grove, Redding, Cass, Peanut. I mean, we're getting to the mountains here. White Rock Recreational Park, and the overlook there. Some hail is possible for us, but this hail is going to stay north of Ozark, north of Coal Hill, north of Altus, north of Whitaker Village, and press deeper into the mountains. Our other hail core. Look at that, we got even picked up even more. This is some large hail, you guys. North side of Poto, blasting with some hail. Getting a couple of FAMA reports too of some of the hail in Poto. Large hail coming down in Poto, according to the family. All right, let's take this back. All right, there's that warning for northern Johnson County. So we're going to get clipped. But we do have some hail in the mountains heading into Johnson County. Batson, you guys may be on the lookout for some hail here shortly too. But this is going to stay north of I-40. We could get some rain along I-40, but the hail pockets north into the mountains right now. Let's see, let's take another look at the hail threat. So it just kind of exploded over Kavanaugh, coming down the hill now, coming right in towards Cameron. It's going to follow 271. So what's going to happen is coming out of Poto, you pass the Walmart and the Scenic Byway. You're heading north and east. You're going to pass the John Deere tractor dealership. That's where the hail is right now, looks like. And it's moving into Cameron as we speak. And so you've got Bobo's there. You got the Catfish Barn. That's going to have some hail here shortly as this just rides past Cameron. New high school in Cameron, the new building. Looks great. But now we've got some hail coming towards it to watch that. Just right along 271. You're going to go past the Hawkeye Fire Department there. Got some families on that team, family members on that team. Right up 271, eventually headed north into Bacola. This core should stay away from Fort Smith. More kind of watching Greenwood, Fort Chaffee, maybe. We got the car dealerships, a bunch of those car dealerships on the south side of Fort Smith, kind of right here on the tail end of 540. We'll watch this, see if that holds its strength. If it kind of just goes, if it keeps its path, it's going to avoid those and head more towards Fianna Hills and towards, let's say, Riley Farms. And coming out of 71, you're headed south outside of Fort Smith towards Greenwood. Generally, between the south side of Fort Smith and Greenwood is where we're probably going to watch some of this hail if it continues to hold on to its strength. But it's coming right into Cameron right now with that hail tracker. Talking with the National Weather Service. All right. getting some of your guys' reports, and I just keep relaying them on to the National Weather Service. That's why here, quick pause. So we're watching this cell. We also got a hail cell in the mountains. Boston Mountains, Waterloo, we're coming up next. Jethro and Barnes Mountaintop. If you live in Batson and Yale, watch out for this thing. This thing's coming in for you guys too. I'm gonna take you live outside with our cameras again. You're looking towards Kavanaugh Hill. It's maybe tough to see, but this is where that hail pocket would be. Probably more towards the left-hand side of your screen, probably about here is where we'll watch that hail pocket come in as it's making its journey up to 71 in LaFleur County. Let's see. Not quite enough lightning to really see much. Oh, you get some flashes, but we got a lot of rain around the area too, so it's just hard to tell. All right, wide view. We've had some of the severe thunderstorm watch canceled on the backside, but this is the final round. So you kind of got two segments with it. We got one part that's skimming us in northern Franklin County, northern Johnson County, mainly mountains. We're still going to get some rain, probably on and off in Clarksville and Knoxville, west towards Mulberry, and we're getting that rain already in Mulberry right now. Ozark and Whitaker Village and Altus, but the severe threats in the mountains. Then we've got this line off towards the south, and it is just kind of chugging along right now with its flow. So it's a little bit slower, where we've had better kind of tilt with the storm position and the wind behind it, kind of like a sail. You know, if you have a wind hitting the sail perfectly, just dead on, you're going to move the ship faster. But if the wind's kind of going along the sail, it's just not as effective. And that's kind of what we're noticing right now in that southern sail. So it's just taking us a lot longer to move this thing. Let's look at the rotation coming in. Not seeing too much. Mainly just a hail threat right now, coming in from LaFleur County. Let me pull off to the side. Looks like the hail pocket has just passed over Cameron. Let's take a closer look at that. But right now, rotation-wise, we're good. We don't have too much of a concern right now. So that's some good news. It's mainly hail. We still have some wind. This whole line that you see just has kind of just gusty winds with it in general. Sometimes it picks up, hits kind of severe status for a moment, and then drops back down to 40, 50 mile per hour winds, which generally at that speed, you don't tend to have a lot of damage. You get better damage right around 58 miles per hour or higher, and that's why we have severe thunderstorm warnings that are issued at that 58 mile per hour criteria. And we kind of hit it at times with this line, but there is some weakening in this line at the moment. But let's take you back to our hail tracker. Looks like it's weakened a little bit. You don't see as many of the blues. This is a loop over the past 30 minutes. See how it just blew up over Poto. I called my dad earlier in Poto today. Said, hey, there's going to be hail later tonight. I'm like, okay. So hopefully he brought the car in. But watching that hail pocket down 271. Latest scan, weaker, but over Cameron. It's headed right towards the Catfish Barn. The Bacola Fire Station on the south side, The hail is coming towards you guys, but the latest scan has shown some weakening, and this is going to skirt us in the Bacola area. Where is this thing going to go next? Let's time this out. It looks like the hail is going to stay away. I know we're included in this severe thunderstorm warning for Hartford and Mansfield, but this thing's going to be towards our north. But if we time this thing out, staying just outside of 540, kind of watching for those dealerships, all those as you're trying to head into Oklahoma. All these dealerships, we watch just because they can do just a lot of damage, some of this hail. But the dealerships are here. The hail should be just south of that, but more towards Vienna Hills and Riley Farms. We're going to watch for, and Rye Hill, we'll watch for some of this hail coming in. Hackett, we could get some of that hail too, but this thing is weakening as it gets close to the state line. State line's right here. You see that white line? As it crosses the state line, it looks like it is weakening. And then back towards the north, hail is also weakened a little bit in northern Franklin County. This thunderstorm warning lasts until 1:15, another 30 minutes with that sell-off towards the north. Right now we have smaller hail. Let's push in through. What we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break, and we'll still watch the hail for a second, but right now we're closer to some penny-sized hail and some nickel-sized hail. With those severe thunderstorm warnings, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to be right back on here in just a few moments as we watch these thunderstorms push throughout the River Valley. Northwest Arkansas, we're good. There's still some leftover rain. We're looking good. From Fort Smith, downtown Fort Smith, and back towards the west, we're also looking good. We're just trying to wrap this up right now in the southern River Valley. Still some strong thunderstorms pushing on through right now. Heavy rain. Poteau now has been clipped outside of the severe thunderstorm warning. The hail pocket is crossing from Cameron. You head east out of Cameron to the state line, crossing into Hackett. And that's where we have some of that hail and some hail in the mountains, but it has reduced in its size, penny-sized hail here at this time, maybe up to nickel at times. But these storms are weakening, and they will continue to weaken. Notice how thin they are, how skinny they are in their distance, their lateral distance. What is that? 15, 20 miles? 15, 20 miles. It's not very big. And these storms will continue to weaken as they press east. It looks like we got maybe a little flare up over Waldron. Finally, some rain for us. But in the southeastern River Valley, we've been talking about all evening that these storms are going to be weakening as they press deeper into the natural state. And they're still trying to cross into the natural state. We still haven't really had any rain in Scott County or Logan County. Franklin County, we finally got some rain here shortly, and now it's over us at the moment, but not hitting everyone. And then in Johnson County, unless you live way up in the northwest corner, north of Batson, so you got to go past Batson, that's where we have the rain at this time. But we're going to watch storms continue to push east. We're going to hop on here in just a little bit as we continue to track the hail coming in, but it looks like those hail cores have reduced. But boy, if you guys have any pictures coming in from Poteau, let us know. We had some large hail that just went over the Kavanaugh Hill, and then from mainly on the north side of Poteau. We looked like we had some going up and down Broadway, but mainly north of the high school is where it looked like the majority of the hail was, closer to the Walmart, Choctaw Plaza. You had north of that, like the blue cruisers, car wash there, and then towards the Holiday Inn Express. But give us any updates if you guys saw any hail. We'd love to send those to the National Weather Service. But we'll continue to watch these storms as they press east over time. Whether by day or night, we're going to be by your side watching the severe thunderstorms. We'll be back here in just a little bit.